to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro. Back during slavery, there was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro say, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today, because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And you're ready, let's separate. You say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field, he ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hog. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but was loved the inside the hog. They call them chitlins nowadays. That's what you were, a gut eater. And some of you all still gut eaters. The field Negro was beaten from morning till night. He lived in a shack, in a hut. He wore cast-off clothes. And he hated his master. I say he hated his master. He was intelligent. That house Negro loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated the master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind. for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. If someone come to the field Negro and said, let's separate, let's run, he didn't say, where are we going? He said, any place is better than here. You got field Negroes in America today. I'm a field Negro. The masses are the field Negroes. When they see this man's house on fire, you don't hear these little Negroes talking about our government is in trouble. They say the government is in trouble. Imagine a Negro, our government. I even heard one say, our astronauts. They won't even let him near the plant. And our astronauts, our Navy, that's a Negro that's out of his mind. That's a Negro that's out of his mind. Just as the slave master in that day used Tom, the house Negro, to keep the field Negroes in check. The same old slave master today has Negroes who are nothing but modern Uncle Toms, 20th century Uncle Toms, to keep you and me in check, keep us under control, keep us passive and peaceful and nonviolent. That's Tom making you nonviolent. It's like when you go to the dentist and the man is going to take your tooth. You're going to fight him when he start pulling. So they squirt some stuff in your jaw called Novocaine to make you think they're not doing anything to you. So you sit there and because you got all that Novocaine in your jaw, you suffer peacefully. Blood running all down your jaw. And you don't know what's happening because someone has taught you to suffer peacefully. The white man do the same thing to you in the street. When he gonna want to put knots on your head and take advantage of you and don't have to be afraid of you fighting back. To keep you from fighting back, he get these old religious Uncle Toms to teach you and me. They're just like Novocaine, suffer peacefully. Don't stop suffering, just suffer peacefully. As Reverend Cleave pointed out, let your blood flow in the streets. This is a shame. And you Christian preacher, if it's a shame to him, you... Because nothing in our book, the Quran, as you call it, Koran, teaches us to suffer peacefully. Our religion teaches us to be intelligent, be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, respect everyone. But if someone puts his hand on you, send them to the cemetery. That's a good religion. In fact, that's that old-time religion. That's the one that Ma and Pa used to talk about. An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, and a head for a head, and a life for a life. That's a good religion. And then anybody, no one resents that kind of religion being taught but a wolf who intends to make you his meal. This is the way it is with the white man in America. He's a wolf and you a sheep. Anytime a shepherd, a pastor, teach you and me not to run from the white man, and at the same time teach us don't fight the white man, he's a traitor. to you and me. Don't lay down our life all by itself. No. Preserve your life. It's the best thing you got. And if you got to give it up, let it be even Stephen. The slave master took Tom and dressed him well and fed him well.
At the top of the hour, first and foremost, with Hayuba Watara. Hayuba Watara. He's a business leader and president of the Fossil First Patriotic Movement, MPFA, and also the president of the North Atlantic Peace Organization, NAPO, in Burkina Faso. And so without further ado, do we have our brother Hayuba Watara here with us this evening? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to wait for Burkina Faso to chime on in. I'm going to move right next to our Pan-African Congress leader. I'm going to start off with Chris Sankara. Chris Sankara, to speak more about the xenophobia in South Africa. Greetings and Black Power, Brother Chris.
Greetings, my sister. Greetings, all the comrades at home and abroad. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you for being here with us. Can you tell us, in short, what's the update happening with South Africa, with a lot of the treasures and people going against each other? Give thanks. Brother Sankara, you're muted.
Oh, I thought I was going to listen to everybody else first, and then I will get into a discussion. But now, because I was invited later, I would love to speak a little bit later, maybe after 2 or 3 brothers and sisters. And then we'll take it from there. I'll inform you.
Okay, absolutely. Well, we are waiting for our first guest, Makini Chimeni. Actually looking to have her be here with us first. Speaking about the injustice of what her husband, Jukam Chinemi, has been going through concerning being arrested wrongfully as a freedom fighter, kidnapped, so to say, for injustice, for simply speaking out against the injustice of what's happening with its own people. So if we have Makini Chimeni here, we'll be waiting for them in a few minutes. Nonetheless, we'll be going through. So I first want to give a shout out to all of our Pan-Africanists, especially those who are working tirelessly for the freedom of our people. We have also Malik Julu Shabazz, who is a leader for the Pan-African movement, Black Lawyers for Justice. So we want to give a special shout out to him as well, the Afro-descendant nation, particularly for the work they are doing for our liberation and struggle every day. We have a long ways to go, but we have the word and the root there, particularly for our youth that need to see a different way. So if we do have you, Brother Sankara, to come on next, let's see if Brother Sipaway Belenka also will be talking about the National Reparations Campaign. The National Reparations Campaign sanctions against the tragedy that happened right now concerning our reparatory justice. If you have seen earlier this year, we were grateful to have Ghana to come down to the UN and present the trials of the transatlantic slave trade. It was pretty powerful the week of March 24th to the 26th. And so because of that route of the first having opening concerning the United Nations hearing the tragedies of what happened with the transatlantic slave trade, this is something that now has opened up the door for reparatory justice with amendments. And this is where we have left off. So we have yet to see a movement of what that second phase will be. So hopefully later on we'll be able to hear from Guinea-Bissau, Brother on that. All right. So also we have later on Brother Ramzu Yunus, who is a human rights activist. If he's here as well, could maybe acknowledge he'll be chiming in from Egypt. So we do have quite a few people on standby that will giving you updates from around the world concerning what Pan-African liberation looks like. So without further ado, I want to relinquish the mic to Queen. We were Queen. Greetings and welcome to our special presentation, Afro-Descendant Nation.
Greetings.
Greetings.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I was off.
Yeah, greetings.
I didn't know I was off the mic. I was on the mic and on the camera. Happy to be here.
We're grateful you're here, Queen. Can you tell us what on this day, May 19th, mean to us as Pan-Africanists? Malcolm X, tell us a little bit about your thoughts.
So Malcolm X is everything to our struggle. I would say he has fought tirelessly to gain our sovereignty and our independence, not just in the U.S. but around the globe.
Please turn your video on, sister, so we can see your beautiful
I
black
wish I could
face.
turn my video on because I look a mess and I was not ready for this. I just woke up and found this.
We're live.
We're live, sis. We just saw your beautiful black face. Come on.
Well, I want to chime in. Okay. Stand by.
Yeah, and I swear, I just found this thing and I decided to jump on. So I was not ready for this.
Greetings. All right.
I'm sorry. My apologies. So I'm just gonna say hi and bye.
All right. Well, greetings to you, sis. Thank you so much. It is very important for women to be on point at all times. And you're as beautiful as you are today. To hear your voice is very important as we continue the struggle. But we need to encourage one another, no matter how we feel about our looks.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
It's very, very necessary for this day of Malcolm X, as he has spoken to us concerning the need for human rights to be a law. that's something that's relevant more than ever today in today's climate. Human rights is certainly a resolution that needs to change, but we have to constantly do the work and make sure that it's accomplished, and to connect with our brothers and sisters from around the world. So this is not just a day of just Black Power. It's a day of reflection, as well as moving forward for the future of our youth to take place, as we have our Marcus Garveys and Thomas Sankaras, and we have our modern day warrior king, Ibrahim Traore. Burkina Faso has been very important to the work that's we're doing today. So without further ado, I want to see, hopefully we do have our first incoming guest. We're waiting for Tchemis to come in. Jokum and Makini, particularly, to speak about her husband's liberation, and how the Cameroon government, particularly, doesn't fare well to freedom fighters. And so, if they're not here, we're also waiting for Chris Sankara, leader from Pan African Congress, to speak about Tanzania's system of issues with our people fighting each other there. This has to stop, family. There is absolutely no excuse at this time and season for us to continue to fight each other when we still have reparatory justice at the table. So as I attended the United Nations to see if we can have some people chime in, the United Nations Commission of the Status of Women, I saw firsthand, being of Haitian descent and also a descendant of chattel slave in the US, that there is no real representation for us at that level. And because of it, it's very important and poignant that we have representation at all levels. As you see, the current Black Congressional Caucus has not passed not one reparatory justice bill or even given amends for those suffered through that. And so here we are in 2026, back to square one, and where we have yet to see tangible resources given to the people who have been affected by the transatlantic slave trade. And so we're not going to continue to say, woe is me. We really do want to put legislation to work and to see real results this year. Our people deserve it. Our ancestors fought for it. And this is what the struggle continues for this day. So without further ado, we do have some souls that's in this room that I want to give thanks to. So we have Brother Carlton Holloway. If you're here, you can just chime on in and tell us a little bit about the mission of who you are as a Black man in this struggle.
Well, let me say peace and blessings to you all.
Peace and blessings.
I don't think I look that good just today either, but I like to get on here and see people and let them see me. Anyway, see me as I am. Anyway, I'm originally out of the Nation of Islam. That's where I come from. That's where I'm raised from in terms of the struggle. I believe that the struggle in America is very important to every struggle that's around the world. And I believe, and this is probably because I'm in America, that the starting point of all of it started here in America. When you talk about what has been done in terms of civil rights, in that time frame, what has been done, say the Nation of Islam, Marcus Garvey, I believe that we awakened the world, and I believe that we are a product, or I believe that Africans are a product of what, and their revolution or their freedom is a product of what we stand for here in the belly of the beast of America. Okay, and I am about the struggle of helping, Black Americans and us getting known nationally by uniting ourselves, because we have a lot of this unity amongst ourselves. We have to form a consensus and move forward in unity on our agenda, on what we want to do for ourselves. And I think that we would get a lot more response from internationally once they see that we have some more unity. I'm not gonna say some unity, but some more unity. We have unity, but we need more. We need to organize.
That's right.
We have everything we need, but we just need to organize. And that's why I'm here. I saw this popped up on my Facebook this morning, and I said, let me get on here. I know brother Malik Shabazz for years. We haven't seen each other in years, but I've known him for years. And I worked with him with Dr. Khaled back in years ago. So I have some roots in this, and I'm looking
Good.
forward to working with you all.
Absolutely. And give thanks. Thank you so much, Brother Carlton, for your insight. We are appreciative of you being here and giving your voice for the Pan-African Liberation Movement. So without further ado, we do have Brother Ramzu Yunus from Egypt chiming in. I don't know if the connection is going to be stable, but nonetheless, we are going to give it a go. And Brother Ramzu Yunus has been part of this fight for a long, long time. He's a profound human rights activist and really setting the tone for real reparatory justice for our people. So without further ado, Brother Ramsey Yunus, are you in the house?
Salute, Black Power, everyone. Yes, I'm here. Excuse the connection. I am in Abu Simbel, Egypt, southern Egypt, a small Nubian town on the south border of Egypt. I'm in a French Nubian hotel now, actually, I'm downtown, but I hope the connection can stay, but I am in the building. Salute everyone, Black Power, peace and love to everyone.
All right, peace and blessings to you too, brother. Can you tell us the beginning of what inspired you to really even focus on human rights to begin with? What was that trajectory?
Well, the struggle, when we say it's Malcolm X's day, right? When you follow Malcolm X, then you can't, or Dr. King. Dr. King inevitably came to a conclusion that this must be a human rights struggle. He came to the conclusion that civil rights was not going to get Black people anywhere. But before he came to a conclusion, Malcolm X had criticized Dr. King for a number of years. He wasn't a hater, as some people would say nowadays, and was saying even back then. He wasn't jealous of Dr. King. He was sincerely wanting progress for Black people. But when you're dealing with civil rights, it means you're leaving your destiny in the hands of those who are violating your civil rights. So those who don't even have a legitimate civil authority over you. White folks in America, they are illegal. They're occupiers, they're conquerors, they're alien dominators of ourselves and indigenous people. So they don't even have legitimate civil authority for us to be even approaching them for civil rights. So Malcolm X, of course, taught by Elijah Muhammad, as taught by Fard Muhammad, they already had acknowledged that. So now following behind Malcolm X, most of us, probably all of us have followed and still say we follow Malcolm X. You can't help but say I'm a human rights activist. And even according to the documents signed by the nations of the United Nations, human rights documents and treaties and covenants, they say that the responsibility is ultimately on us, individuals of the community, to become human rights activists. It's not on the United Nations. It's not on another nation. Yeah, they have responsibilities, but ultimately, they say the responsibility is to the person. He or she is responsible for themselves and their community. So reading these things, they come to the conclusion that we have to exercise Black power to achieve justice. And I said, okay, then it must be a human rights struggle, because we have a human right of determining for ourselves. It's called self-determination. We find it in the Black Panther Point program, just like we find it in numerous treaties, and programs of all liberated parties, not parties seeking for liberation, all liberated parties, whether it be from Vietnam to South Africa, inside of their charter and their programs, the number one struggle was for self-determination, because that's acknowledged as a natural right, even by the oppressors. So if the oppressors themselves say you have a human right, not a civil right, human right of self-determination, then naturally, if you want liberation for your people, then your struggle is human rights. Your struggle is not for civil rights. Civil rights mean we acknowledge. I don't know nobody on this call that acknowledge the power of white people in America as being legitimate. We acknowledge it because of our fear to resist it, but we do not intellectually acknowledge the power of white America. So if you don't acknowledge the power of white America, then your struggle is not civil, because there's no civil authority in America that's legitimate. Your struggle is for the human right of self-determination. So that's what led me, sincerely looking for a way to liberate and help liberate my people. I had to become a human rights activist, and following behind Malcolm X, and also following our beloved Dr. Martin Luther King, who months before the government of the United States assassinated him, he said that we've gone from civil rights to human rights. So following that line of sincere men that wanted, and women that wanted to see our people liberated, I had to adopt the human rights struggle.
Right on. And so here we are, May 2026. What level of accomplishments do you think we are as a group of people as a law to reach the end result of reparatory justice?
It's on us, if we're closer. First of all, the war, we done lost the war. We done lost. Now we have to actually reorganize and now actually in a war for our liberation, whether it be violent or non-violent. Of course, the first choice is non-violence. But where we are, we lost. So now we are reorganizing, and it takes some power to do what we're talking about. Nobody's going to do it for us. We only can utilize black power. And what Malcolm X, our great brother, peace be upon him, was trying to do before he left was organize our unity at the Organization for African American or Afro-American Unity. We need some power, and that power can only come through uniting. But we've seen, for some reason, all of us have an excuse for not uniting. Everybody on here has an excuse for not saying we try to unite, but most people, some of us on here, we have an excuse for not uniting with somebody else. We don't see without any kind of judgment, a unity with all black people that's struggling for this, for the same purpose. Now, you got to have unity of purpose, first of all. But so we're at that point where now we have to organize, we have to unite, but we have to have unity of purpose first. What's your purpose? Is your purpose black power? Is your purpose, everybody now that's listening, answer that question. Is your purpose black power? And if you're talking about voting and hoping on Donald Trump or somebody to see out Kamala Harris, whoever, your purpose is not black power, because all of them represent white power. But if your purpose is black power, there's only one way to achieve black power, yellow power, white power, brown power, and that's through self-determination of that particular people. So we have to reorganize ourselves and get serious so we can realize black power. Otherwise, we already lost the war. We're now just sitting here, defeated people, looking for a savior within the civil power of a people that we are literally civilly dead under.
Ashe, very well said. And I'm grateful that you posed that question. What is your purpose? I think that is the million-dollar questions at the table that we all need to answer, and answer with a full response to that. What is your purpose? Now, what is your message? We're going to go to our next guest, but can you give us some closing comments? What is your message to the youth for somebody who actually wants to start being part of being a human rights officer? How can they do so? What's the advice that you'd like to give them?
Well, join the Black Panther movement. Learn your human rights. Go crack open the #1 law of the United States that is a human rights document called the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. First two things it says is number one, self-determination. Then it talks about a right to our remedy, reparations. Those are our rights. If you want to, first of all, you have to have the heart to say, look, I'm willing to put my life, my liberty on the line for the liberation of my people. If you fear losing your liberty, then you don't want liberation. If you fear losing your life, then you don't want real life then. So first of all, make that determined intention, that sincere intention that you are willing to put your life and your liberty on the line to see the liberation of yourself and your people. Number one, that's to the youth. And now go ahead and study how you achieve that. How did others achieve that? What are we missing in? Number one is that unity. And that's what I offer to the youth. My advice to the youth is first make the intention of what you really want, and then find the movement, which this movement is, that's willing to put themselves on the line to achieve it and have that purpose in mind.
Right on. All right. Give thanks. And thank you so much, Brother Ramsey Yunus, that's joining us from Egypt, Policy Human Rights Officer and Extraordinary Pan-Africanist. So give thanks. Thank you so much for being here with us today. All right.
That's a service.
Moving forward, we are going to go to Tanzania, where we are going to talk to our brother Chris Sankara. Chris Sankara was the president Pan-African Congress to give us some updates of what's happening, not only with xenophobia, but in other issues. Oh, a lot of turmoil happening with our people over there. All right, so welcome back, Brother Chris. And to give us an update, tell us who you are and the struggle that's happening in South Africa.
Yeah, thanks. I'm very honored, although I received this invitation just today, but as a revolutionary, as a leader, I must always be prepared to, to be part of the struggle of our people. My name is Chris Sankara. I'm a member and a leader of the Revolutionary Pan-Africanist Congress of Tanzania. I grew up, I would say I was born in this organization. I'm among the youngest, as a young man, I am among the people who went into exile to fight for our country, to get a training. We are the people who fought against the racist settler colonial apartheid government. I've been in the forefront, I've been a commander, and I've been active in the struggle for almost more than 40 years. I'm a soldier, I'm a revolutionary, I'm a Pan-Africanist, I'm a freedom fighter. I've also worked with my brother. I don't call him my comrade, we are more than comrades. Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz, we've been working together for more than 20 years now. In his I was the one who invited Tanzania, so-called South Africa. We have worked with him for years. We have managed to achieve a lot of things, including the establishment or the formation of the worldwide Pan-African movement, which I'm currently the chairperson, which he is supposed to take over as a leader because it's among the founding. The worldwide Pan-African movement, it's a organization of organization, movement of movement, party of parties from at home and diaspora. We have more than 6 organizations currently that are part of the movement. We have more than 42 countries that are part of the movement. It was established in 2016, June 15, officially, and Brother Malik was part of. So yeah, we have worked together for many years. We have achieved many things in the worldwide Pan-African movement. We have held reparation protests all over the world. We have held, including in Namibia, we have organized comrades from Namibia. If you remember, the German committed what we call genocide in Namibia. For the people of Namibia, they've held their reparation because of what we organized, and they had their march and they submitted the memorandum. It was for the first time the government of Germany admitted their atrocities, although they didn't pay the reparation, but it was a step in the right direction. We have comrades who marched in Belgium from Congo, who marched and submitted a memorandum to the granddaughter of King Leopold, who massacred more than 15 million of Africans in Congo. After many years, for the first time, there were the granddaughter acknowledged the atrocity, although the reparation have not been paid. We have also organized a march here in Azania against the anti-sanction against the people of Zimbabwe, and some of the sanctions were uplifted, although not all the sanctions. But these are some of the achievements during the death of from US. The one was killed by the police. I forgot his name. David Zeni. If you can remind me the name. We organized a march here in South Africa against the American embassy, and it was well attended. And we also submitted a memorandum. So there's a lot of things that we have achieved towards. I can go on and go on, but just to mention the few. So we have done a lot with Brother Malik, and we have established a lot of contact all over the world. So yeah, this movement has achieved a lot, which I'm just mentioning the few things. Now, going back to the topic, the issue of xenophobia. I would say xenophobia, because if it was xenophobia, then we have seen that whites who are foreign here in this country could have been attacked. We have so many whites who are Jews who just arrived, some of them from Israel, from Zionist Israel, are being naturalized, are being given citizenship, especially in the Western Cape. Those whites are not being attacked. They are having business. They are buying part of the land in Western Cape and other countries. They are not being attacked. We have Indians, we have Chinese, we have all type of Pakistan, and all. Those people are not being victims of any attack. But the attacks are happening, so-called xenophobia. It's attacks that are against the African people. It's so unfortunate that the enemy would always use, among other things, is to divide African people. I strongly believe that this so-called xenophobia, Afrophobia, is sponsored by white people and by white institutions, but also by the South African government, who do not have a purpose to free our people from the bondage of apartheid. As we know, here in South Africa, we're not yet free, we're not yet liberated. What happens in 1994? It was a transfer of management of white supremacy to black puppets. The real power is still in the hands of white people. When the liberation, when the poverty and the marginalization of our people is experienced every day. The background, please. Can you switch off the?
Yes. Can we have? I need co-hosts.
Someone is disturbing me. Yeah. So that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have pause right there for 1 second. We do have a video that I'm going to play, and I actually wanted you to continue your statement because I want everyone to hear precisely the current issue, because it is type of disturbing there, and how we can assist our people in Azania.
South African workers have marked International Workers' Day with protests of inflation and rising cost of living. Their demands comes at a time when the country is also grappling with renewed xenophobic violence, raising fresh questions about whether unemployment and economic hardship are fueling hostility towards migrants. While some argue that the attacks are rooted in competition for jobs and limited resources, others disagree. So how strong is the link between economic pressure and xenophobia? DW correspondent Tuso Kumalo spoke to workers on the ground.
The workers I spoke to were clear about their demands. peace, higher wages, and better working conditions. Many say they are struggling with rising energy costs and declining purchasing power, pressures they partly blame on global disruptions, including ongoing wars. Others argue that the government is not doing enough to strengthen the economy, or is the burden on households already stretched thin. But do economic hardships and competition for jobs and resources explain the recent xenophobic attacks? Studies and expert report largely reject that argument. Many analysts say xenophobia is not driven by migrants taking jobs, but rather by scapegoating and political opportunism. I spoke to several workers celebrating Labor Day, and here is what they had to say.
In this new era, so-called democracy, but when it comes to working class, the life it's working, you're seeing poverty, inequality is growing because the government is not creating jobs or decent jobs for people to be able to live.
But the argument that, migrants explain the unemployment, I don't understand it. Because you either argue that there are too many people in the country, and that doesn't make sense why in China, with a population that is probably 20 times the size of South Africa, is growing. It has ended poverty of about 800 million people.
There you have it. Opinions abound on this controversial issue, and tensions continue to surface. In KwaZulu-Natal, some foreign nationals were recently confronted and asked to prove their legal status before being told to leave and fix their countries. South African authorities have since vowed to crack down on anyone involved in xenophobic attacks against foreign nationals.
Okay. Well, tell us your thoughts on what you just saw, Brother Sankara. Is it true that may the work reveal that that's causing xenophobic attacks? What is your thoughts on what you just heard?
Fortunately, I was about to explain that. For me, the gentlemen there are right. As I was saying, here in 1994, there were people who were not liberated. They were only given a vote, but the freedom, the real liberation, still in the hands of white people. The fact of the matter is that the white people still control the land, they still control the economy, they still control everything. Now, this thing was going to happen. Now, the fake government, there's also corruption because of that. There's a lot of corruption within the government. So it's a question of this thing was going to fail anyway. So in South Africa, we have no state. There's no state in South Africa. It's a result. The result of this so-called xenophobia. Like I said, I call it afrophobia because I call it as it is. It is self-hatred. It's black on black violence. It's simple as that. Someone within the politicians, they are paying these people to deviate from real issues. There's poverty, there's unemployment, the people are not free, people are living in shacks. There's a lot of things that are happening against African people, and we are not free. And hence the economy is in the hands of white people. And it's difficult even for the so-called government to even create jobs, because you can only create jobs when you run the economy. You can only create, and how do you able to run the economy? It's when you have control over the land. So we don't own the land. The land, 87% of the land, is owned by the minority whites, who are maybe 5% of the population here in Azania, so-called South Africa, and they control everything. I can make a scientific example. You can go to Johannesburg Stock Exchange and check. 98% of the companies that are there are white, and most of them are foreign. So not South African. I can name some of these companies: the Shell Garage, the Total Garage, the French, and so and so and so. Majority of, even if you can go to any shopping mall, all the shops there are white, and those white companies are even foreign. So even where we eat white people, we eat white people's food, and where white people's food, who are foreigners, so they're supplying everything. They control the economy. So this government was going to fail. So this thing is being diverted to deviate from real issues that are affecting African people. And the only way they can deviate that is that some of the government officials, they might be paying these people because they're not even arrested. They're not even arrested, these people. And even the white people, they're benefiting from this to make sure that the black people or the African people are divided. Now in South Africa, we have more than 500 black organizations. In South Africa alone, there's only 3 organizations that are white. That is DA, actually let me say GA and Freedom Front. Those are 2 organizations. The other, and they vote for 2 organizations, white organizations. The others are just associations. But there's got more than 500 organizations. And if you look at those organizations, are supported and are sponsored by white people to keep the black men divided. Just like when they did during apartheid, you remember they were divided through tribalism and so on. So it's a continuation of a script that is written to make sure that the black man does not unite, the black man stays weak, and the black man does not focus on real issues that affect that affect them, including the issue of land, the issue of poverty, the issue of joblessness. So it is the strategy to keep ourselves divided. Unfortunately, it's an issue of ignorance amongst the black people. I always say, Thomas Sankara used to say, a soldier without political ideology is a potential criminal. It's an issue of ideological. If you lack political ideology, you find people simply being used to kill to attack other black people. The fact of the matter is that the white man is running the economy. This thing of sponsor shop, what, it does not really affect the issue. You understand? So this is what we are facing in South Africa. But it's not the issue of South Africa alone. It is the issue of the continent as a problem. Because if you go to different countries, there's a lot of poverty. We only have few countries that are liberated in Africa. That is Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And Botswana is following, and Namibia is following. And there are very few countries that are following now. But all these countries we have, Zimbabwe now is also joined. After the death of Robert Mugabe, His Excellency is losing the direction. It's no longer Zimbabwe that we know. There are also there's a lot of wrong things that are happening there. And now the countries are serving Western imperialists and European imperialists. They are puppets. They are failing the people. That is why you find people flocking all over the countries come to South Africa. And only to some of these people, we must be honest, some of these people, they are involved in illegal issues like selling drugs. Our comrades our brothers from Nigeria, for example, there are those who are involved in selling illegal drugs, creating what you call it, prostitution and all of that. That's a fact, and that has been capitalized by our own people. You understand? So we will find people flocking all over because there's poverty among these countries. The whole of Africa, there's a lot of poverty because we have government that is serving the Western imperialism that are puppets, that they do not look after the people, their own people. There's a lot of poverty. And they cannot even unfortunately, these people cannot even face their own government to fight against poverty, to fight against economy. And they find themselves now flying all over the continent, coming to South Africa, some creating, some doing illegal stuff like selling drugs, prostitution, and all of that. And that gives the enemy a forehead for them to say, an excuse for them to say, yeah, these black people are doing that and that. And it gives us also a mechanism to defend unity amongst African people. So we find our own people that are coming from these countries, these African countries are doing illegal things. So it becomes difficult for us. So we must be factual about these things. As I said, it's not a problem of South Africa or Azania. The whole continent, there's poverty, and people, they are looking for right opportunities. That's why you find them coming to South Africa, and some of them, most of them are honest people doing genuine business, and we've been working with them for many times. And if you look at if you follow me on Facebook, at some stage, we have we marched for Zimbabwe, and as I said, for the anti-sanction against Zimbabwe. We organized it here in South Africa against US Embassy because What is creating problem in Zimbabwe, for example? It's not because of the land issue. It is because after the land issue was addressed by the people of Zimbabwe, the war veterans fought for their land back, and then the British government, the European government, the Western government started sanctioning the Zimbabweans. And the Zimbabweans are suffering because of the economy that has been sanctioned by the Western countries. Unfortunately, among the African countries, we don't work together where we must make balance to support the people of Zimbabwe. You find that Zimbabwe is rich, but it cannot be able to sell its diamond, cannot be sell its timber, anything else, because these diamonds were sanctioned and its economy was sanctioned. So it became difficult for the people of Zimbabwe to survive because of the economy of Zimbabwe. So these are the things that we are facing as African people. I will leave it there for now. Thank you.
All right, give thanks. And can you tell us a little bit about what's happening June 2nd concerning the Veterans March?
Thank you for that. The Veterans March, it's an issue of. I'm also a veteran. I'm also a military veteran. All the liberation freedom fighters, including Azanian People's Liberation Army, myself, the MK Control Caesar from the ANC, the Azapo Azanda from Azapo, those who fought against the settler colonial apartheid government. They are being sidelined. Some of us, like myself, have business, but I'm unable to get projects from the government, and we don't get our. There's a UN charter that allows all those who fought for against all who fought, including war veterans, things, but we are not receiving those things. We are being sidelined for more than 22 years as war veterans in this country. We are not benefiting from all these things. At some stage, before 1994, there were funds that were given for military veterans to be given to military veterans. At that time, the president was Nelson Mandela. We don't know what happened with those funds that were supposed to be given to military veterans. There were benefits that were supposed to get, like housing benefits, like land benefits, like pension, and all of that. We're not receiving that. They're trying to fix it now. Some are receiving a little bit, but not all of these people are benefiting. Our children are supposed to receive free education and all of that. We don't get all of that. Some they do, some they don't get. So those are the issues that are going to be addressed. For all information, I was the first person to organize a march. I was leading that march against the Department of Military Veterans. I was leading that. We hold hostage from 8 morning, the other morning, the department was held hostage. I was leading that. So we've had many marches, but even today, there were other marches that came. Our issues have not been resolved. So this is the continuation of some of the military veterans have died as paupers. They're not receiving anything. They're not receiving benefit from that. So the march is about fighting for the rights of the liberation of veterans who have been there, and some have died, their children, their dependents, and all of that. So that march is all about that.
All right. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you so much for that. And I'm so grateful that you highlighted the veterans, because veterans' resources when it comes to housing, they fight for a country, and then they don't even get the basic food, shelter that is needed. So so grateful, and thank you again for your service as a revolutionary that is continuing to lead those to self-determination. So for lastly, thank you, Chris Sankara, actually the leader of Pan-African Congress. Can you leave us with this? So those who want to join the movement and want to learn more about the works of the Pan-African Movement Congress as well, there is an African Liberation Day workshop that's coming up in the 24th in a few days. So can you just close us out with that, Brother Sankara?
Yeah, the African Liberation Day, those who know, in 1963, there was a formation of the African, the OAU, All African Organization. By then, before it was changed to AU, the PC was among the part and parcel of the formation of the organization. Some of our leaders who were exiled in Ethiopia were having very much influence in the formation of the AA. But I don't want to go there much. It's this workshop is about celebration or commemoration of that day, the formation of the day. But also the workshop is about the ideological training and ideological clarity, and also about the Pan-African history, our struggle history, so that we can conscientize our people about the ideology of Pan-Africanism, what is its aim, what is its vision, and all of that. So those who are listening, we would like everybody to support this organization. It's a continuation of what our forefathers have started, the Kwame Nkrumah, the Robert Sobukwe, the Patrice Lumumba, Marcus Garvey, and all the others. So we are continuing with Thomas Sankara, we are continuing with the work, continue to conscientize our people, because the struggle is not yet the Africa is far from being free. So we are trying to unite our Africa through ideological and training and vision of the Pan-Africanism. Thank you.
All right, give thanks. All right, so without further ado, we thank you again for being here with us. We have many wonderful souls that's here with us today. So without further ado, one of the struggles again that we spoke to, our main highlight was Joachim Chimeni, and his wife Makini Chimeni, who is a Cameroonian American activist, educator, and also the wife of the imprisoned opposition figure, Joachim Chimeni. And again, a lot of people that have been targeted, especially for doing the works, as also festered in being in endangered waters. And so now without further ado, we would like to introduce our queen, our highlight, Madam McKinney Chimeni, if she's here with us today, and telling her the update of what's happening with her husband Joachim and the powers of works they're doing in Cameroon. Madam McKinney Chimeni, if you can unmute your mic, greetings and welcome to Bienvenue. And then we have our translator, Manatoanine, if you are in standby. Okay, so while we are waiting for them to unmute, we're going to move on. Oh, greetings. Okay. Bienvenue. Do we have our translator?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, welcome. And it's an honor, Madam McKinney Chimeni. Can you hear us? You are muted. Very low. Can you hear me now? We can. Barely, but we can. We'll try to make it out. But it's all right. There may be some background feedback, but we definitely need to hear you a little clearer. We'll try and make it out though. Can everyone hear? Can you hear me
No,
now? No. We
no.
can hear you. It's just some feedback. But we are so honored, first and foremost, to have you here with us today. and the works that you and Jacom have been doing. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, first and foremost, the powerful woman that you are as an educator and activist? You grew up in the States, right? The youngest of 8 children?
Yes, my name is Makini Kennedy, and I am born and raised in Houston, Texas. A former member of the All African People's Revolutionary Party of Kwame Nkrumah. Also, Jacob Champion.
We can't hear you, sister. It sounds like you're down the hallway.
Really far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna then try to speak on my phone, and we're gonna.
Yeah, I think we need to switch devices. So let's work on that, because we definitely want to hear every word you're saying. It's so powerful, and honored to have you here with us today. In the meanwhile, while we have Madam McKinney set up on a different device, we're going to Brother Sipaway from Guinea-Bissau, Brother Sipaway Balenka, who's been working on reparatory justice as well, sanctions, United Nations, you name it. So, Brother Sipaway Balenka, if you are in the house, we need you to step up. Saw him earlier.
And Sumba, greetings.
Oh, greetings. All right. So, how are you today?
Chole min. Abene bin hamne yo wule. I find it important to start by speaking my mother tongue to prove that it is possible to recover from ethnocide, that even after 6, 7, 8 or more generations of enslavement and captivity in the Americas, it is possible to reclaim your ancestral identity, restore your lineage, return to your ancestral homeland, integrate into those societies, reclaim your connection to your ancestral land that you were forcibly removed from, and learn your mother tongue. This is the highest form of reparations, restoring your lineage, your line, and your mother tongue. So that is why I always start by speaking my mother tongue. I'm in my ancestral homeland of Guinea-Bissau right now. I'm hearing some background echo.
Yes, we're trying to fix that. 1 second. Machini, if we could mute.
I'd like to greet all my brothers and sisters, but in the tradition of Amilcar Cabral, we say comrades, because comrades is an even stronger bond. Because we don't choose our family, our brothers and sisters. Our bond is we are connected to them by birth. But comrades are people that we choose to have an intense relationship with because of our destiny and calling, and in this case, the African Black Liberation Movement. We have higher standards, code of ethics among comrades because of the nature of our relationship and what we are called to. So I see many of my comrades on the call. I greet all of them, particularly my sister, Makini, who I hope to hear from soon. Just very briefly, here in Guinea-Bissau, we are under an illegal military high command that seized power after a free and fair election took place in November of 2025. Those elections were observed by 7 different international observer missions. And just before announcing the final results, a coup took place, seized power, and we've been living under this this illegal military high command since. This is not to be confused with the administrations in the Alliance for Sahel states, which are actually supported by the people in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. In Guinea-Bissau, this is not the case. This is not supported by the people. Our freedoms and our international human rights are being violated every single day. And even me, I have to be careful what I say in international public platforms because of the surveillance. This is not the Africa that we want. So that's just a brief update of the situation here in Guinea-Bissau. What I
All
really
right, give thanks. Give thanks.
Yeah.
If you could hold Brother Sipaway, because we do have Madam McKinney back on a different device, and we want to return back to your updates concerning reparatory justice. But hold on right there. Thank you so much, brother. Okay, Madam McKinney Chamini, are you back with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, much better. Yes. Grateful.
Okay.
All right, give thanks.
Greetings to all of the organizations and members that are present today. My name is McKinney Chamini. As I said earlier, I'm born and raised in Houston, Texas. Okay. And I have worked and lived in Africa for more than 30 years now.
Madam McKinney, I'm sorry. Can we mute Black Panther Party movement? Can you mute your line, please?
Here in Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, at the African American Academy. It is a international school that has been set up by the African Centered Educational Foundation. And I am going to talk about the issues around the arrest and detention of Jacob Chamini. Today being a very special day of Malcolm X celebration, we are still talking about struggle, and we will be talking about struggle for a long time. Jacob Chamini has been incarcerated without being judged or in a court of law for more than 190 days. He was arrested in October of 2024. He is the opposition coalition leader that led a presidential campaign under Union for Change, in which the candidate that won at the ballot was not allowed to indeed proceed with taking that seat. In the first phase of the campaign for the liberation of Jacob Chamini, we wanted to raise awareness of the human rights abuses that took place during his kidnapping and the illegal search and seizure of items, personal items in Douala, Cameroon. It was really important, the first phase, to raise awareness because Jacob Chamini was arrested with a fellow comrade, Anisette Kani, who has since died in incarceration. So it's very important for us to raise that awareness so that we can secure his well-being and his safety. This is an ongoing aspect of this campaign. But today I'm going to be talking about a new phase of the campaign. And the new phase, or I should say not necessarily new, but the second phase we will be going is where I'm calling upon the African diaspora to ask for human rights for myself, Makini Chamini. The campaign that we're currently going to discuss concerns the search and seizure that involves my home and school in Douala, Cameroon, that were entered by government officials without official warrants or search warrants, and they proceeded, of course, in the kidnapping of my husband, but they also proceeded in terms of taking very important documents, personal documents belonging to myself, but also taking items from our students that were also in the school at the time. It is a boarding school, and they went in and they took unlawfully, without any documentation, these things, and are refusing to return those items or to restitute those items of property to me and to the students that were in the school. So right now I am asking the African diaspora to assist in bringing pressure upon the Cameroonian government for the immediate return of all of those personal effects as well as school-related property that they seized and that are unwilling to give back, although they are not related to Jacob Chamini, but more so Makini Chamini. The response that the Cameroonian government needs to receive is they need to be consistently asked and bugged about why they are obtaining and maintaining those documents. Because if I have committed a crime, then they need to come forward and they need to also address that. But if I am not under any type of legal or illegal situation, then they should return those documents that are very important for me and my family. They should return those documents. This phase of the campaign for the liberation of Jacob includes this information, this campaign liberation of these documents.
Yes.
Not only have
yes,
the
I wanted
Cameroonian government refused to return the documents, but when seeking assistance from the American embassy in Cameroon, in Yaoundé, Cameroon, I have been also not able to get assistance from the American Council or American Citizen Services that is there to assist American citizens that are in distress. And clearly this is an issue of distress. When your home has been violated, when your home has been attacked and items seized, and no such legal authority or legal record has been given to substantiate such an action, I would expect the American government to intervene on my behalf as an American citizen, as a tax-paying American citizen, to be able to bring about answers of why my personal effects and those of students in an American school is also being detained. Unfortunately, this has not happened, and I am asking, and I will be providing to the different forums of the organizations that are present today. I'll be providing letters and samples of letters, and scripts that can be used in all of the different embassies to ask them to respond. That is what I am going to say for now, because one thing it is to have your own citizen, as a Cameroonian citizen, being detained and refusing to address the legal reasons why you are detaining that person without judgment. What is the crime that has been committed? It's another thing when an American government that proclaims and professes to be democratic has an American citizen in the country. The embassy is there to look out for those American citizens, and they are acting as if there is not an American.
Oh, did we lose? Okay. I hope we didn't lose Sister McKinney. However, her story is poignant. Hopefully she'll be able to return back. The connection's a bit unstable. But this is quite disturbing to have not only an attack, a search and seizure on a school, but the unlawful arrest of her husband as well, simply for speaking out. And that's why this mission is not for the weak at heart. It takes a strong individual to succumb not only through opposition warfare, but warfare within our own internal members, our own people. So we look forward to having her back. But in the meantime, the key point of what Madam McKinney has mentioned is that she has reached out to the embassies, and without no avail, no justice has been found or any response for that matter concerning the illegal search and seizure of the property for her school in Douala. So this is just a little snippet that we're going to play concerning Rabua and the false narrative of stability in the Cameroon.
The truth of the matter is that there's stability in the country. There's relative peace in the country. In fact, people are looking forward to a new cycle of elections, which have just been postponed.
So the country is stable. That's a word we hear often from government officials in Cameroon.
But when you walk through cities like Douala or Bamenda, the support of this stability narrative depends on who you ask.
Exactly, because for some young people in Cameroon, stability means something like this. You finish university, you send out job applications, and 2 or 3 years later, you're still looking for work.
This level of stability has been received with mixed feelings, because we have a lot of Cameroonians who feel that for these 40 years that he has been in power, there is a lot that has not been done.
So if this is how some Cameroonians feel, what then does it tell us about President Paul Biya's legacy?
Good question. And what practical changes need to happen now to make Cameroonians feel that they have a country that they can call their own?
That is our top.
All right, we're going to pause it right there. So there you have it. There is a false narrative that's being spread around. The country is stable when we know that it's anything but. Welcome back, Madam McKinney. And
okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. You fell off at the time. So we'd like to know how we can assist, and you can go in a little more detail. The fact that you reached out to the embassies based on the illegal search and seizure of your schools and the materials therein. What is the update concerning that, and how can we as the international community assist in this plight?
Well, what I will be providing to the different forums, and I would like it to be shared among the members that are present today and others that may end up coming on later, is the sample of the letters, the telephone numbers that can be sent to the embassy in Washington, D.C., the Cameroon embassy in Washington, D.C., but it can be any Cameroonian embassy in any country. It doesn't have to just be in the United States, but you can also receive samples of letters that can be sent to the embassy, the U.S. embassy in Cameroon. I think also the state representative for Houston, the district where I'm from, should be also contacted, as well as the Africa desk of the State Department, because they are the ones that are addressing a lot of the issues here in regards to their embassies. The Black Caucus is an organization that also should receive letters asking why the American embassies are not treating fairly American citizens that are abroad and in distress. And how can they ensure that true representation is delivered to American citizens wherever they are? Those are the actions that I'm going to recommend and that I'm going to provide to the forum so that the different members can share. Because right now, we have the Cameroonian exercising control over their citizen and refusing to respect their own laws as well as the conventions that they have signed. But when the US government that goes around the world being the police of the world are claiming to be, is also not respecting their own responsibilities toward the American citizens, then we need to also call them to order. So that is what I will be asking and providing information toward the different forums. Thank you for this opportunity of sharing this experience, and our struggle continues. It is not going to be over, and we're going to continue.
Absolutely. All right, so we have on the screen Henry Etudi Esomba, who is the embassy for Cameroon in the US. So if you can, we'll certainly follow up with this assistance for justice, and it needs to be served more swiftly than not. So with that being said, est-ce que nous gain Auba Ouattara from Burkina Faso? Brother Auba Ouattara. Est-ce qu'il est là? S'il n'est pas là, nous parlons avancer. Okay, we are going to welcome back Brother Sipaway Balenka to finish off with his reporting from Burkina Faso, from Guinea-Bissau, based on the reparatory justice from the UN and abroad. Give thanks.
Abene, give thanks again. What my sister and comrade Makini is describing in Cameroon, unfortunately, is happening all across Africa. And she is absolutely correct when she says the struggle continues, and it's going to continue for a long time. And the wages are higher in the struggle now because there's more at stake because of the time that we live in. We live in a time where humanity has the weapons of mass destruction. We have things like drones. You have surveillance technology that is greater than at any other time. The stakes and consequences are higher, which is the reason why we have to intensify our struggle. What I'd like to do with the little bit of time that I have is two things. One, today, 101 years ago, right, Omowali Malcolm X was born. He entered the earth. I'll talk a little about his story from the Pan-African and spiritual center, and then relate it to our current reparation struggle today. Me, to be quite honest, a lot of times I get frustrated at the way we tell the story about Malcolm X because we don't give the proper context. So let me do that. Let's go back 101 years ago today, May 19th, 1925. Malcolm Little is born to Louise and Earl Little in Omaha, Nebraska. But in order to understand that, you got to go back 6 years to 1919 and understand that regent and plenipotentiary, heir to the Ethiopian empire and throne, Rastafari, sends 4 Ethiopian ambassadors, including the mayor of Gondar, the head of the military. They come to the United States. It was the first time that African royalty and head of government made a state visit to the United States. The Ethiopian flag ceremoniously flew over the White House in 1919 Jim Crow. Now the mission goes to Washington, D.C., New York, and Chicago. Okay. At that same time, well, when the mission came to Chicago, Prophet Grover Redding and others in Chicago recognized that this was the fulfillment of some prophecies related to the return from captivity. And they started preaching about this, and they formed the first Rastafari organization called the Star Order of Ethiopia. At the same time, Marcus Garvey is sending a delegation to the Paris Peace Conference that was attended by 32 diplomatic delegations to settle the claims following the first European savage war, sometimes called World War I. Marcus Garvey is claiming that the former German must be given over to an African black government administration under the UNIA. Earl Little, Malcolm X's father, is the president of the UNI chapter in either Detroit or East Lansing. And at this time, Regent and Plenipotentiary is inviting Black Americans through the UNIA to return to Ethiopia. So at that moment, we are at the Paris Peace Conference asserting our right to self-determination and preparing to repatriate to Africa under the guidance of Rastafari, who is regent and plenipotentiary, heir to the throne, who would later on become Haile Selassie. Malcolm X's father is a leader in this. He is charged with getting petitions signed to bring to the Paris Peace Conference. This means, from an African point of view, remember, from African ontology, our mentality, right? We are sovereign. And existence is not just existence here on earth, our physical existence, right? There's an ancestral realm that represents the past, those that lived in the past. They are alive and they are with us. And there is also the realm of the unborn, which represents the future, right? That is a reality. So from the African point of view, our traditional spirituality, the past, present, and future are one. And African jurisdiction extends to the past, present, and future. African jurisdictional and juridical sovereignty means that our jurisdiction, our reality existed first, and even though suppressed, is not extinguished. Malcolm X's father was sovereign activated, which means his son, Earl Little, was born as a sovereign activated person, retaining this ancestral memory and sovereignty. So Malcolm X, when we get to his later life, what he does by going to the heads of state of the African Union, attempting to bring our case before the World Court, preparing us for repatriation. A lot of people, they don't know that Malcolm X's political philosophy was, we're not staying in the United States, we're preparing to repatriate to Africa. Listen to what it says. Let me find the quote. I want to read it to you. I want to find the exact quote. This is Malcolm X speaking in a 1964 interview. The 22 million so-called Negroes should be separated completely from America and should be permitted to go back home to our African homeland, which is a long-range program. So the short-range program is that we must eat while we're still here. We must have a place to sleep. We have clothes to wear. We must have better jobs. We must have better education, so that although our long-range political philosophy is to migrate back to our African homeland, our short-range program must involve that which is necessary to enable us to live a better life while we are still here. Why would Malcolm say that? It's because his father was connected to Rastafari, to Emperor Haile Selassie, whose plan was to what? Repatriate Black Americans. Malcolm X was born into this. It's in his sovereign DNA, in his blood, and it was activated after his Detroit Red period. It's not a coincidence. See, we don't tell the story correctly. We don't talk about how Malcolm, when he goes to Africa, he lectures at Haile Selassie University, October 23rd, 1963. He meets Emperor Haile Selassie, calls him the world's greatest leader. A year later, he returns, submits a memorandum to the Organization of African Union, founded by Emperor Haile Selassie, and now consisting of 33 or 34 heads of state, tells the leaders of Africa, your problems are our problems and our problems are your problems. And if apartheid in South Africa is an international issue that must be brought before the World Court, then also racism against Afro-Americans in the United States, the apartheid practice in the Jim Crow United States, is also an international issue that must be brought before the World Court. All of this goes back to Malcolm X's father, Earl Little, and Marcus Garvey, and the sovereign activation in his blood. Malcolm X returns to Africa again in October 1964. He goes to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Why? Because the Organization of African Unity set up an African Liberation Committee who was tasked with financing, coordinating, and providing diplomatic cover to the African liberation movement. And by this time, they had recognized the new African liberation movement that Malcolm X was leading in the United States. I'm not going to talk about Malcolm X's relationship with the Revolutionary Action Movement at this time. That was the underground armed guerrilla struggle movement in the United States. I've lectured on that before. I don't have time to get into that, but it's been documented, and we can talk about that later, right? But at that time, when Malcolm X went to Tanzania, 1964, they gave him instructions. He said, we can do for you what we're doing for the ANC. We can do for you what we're doing for ZANU-PF. We can do for you what we're doing for the PAIGC in Guinea-Bissau. We can do for you what we do for the other African liberation movements when you satisfy two requirements. First, you must form a united front. You must get Martin Luther King and his Christian followers, primarily in the South, with your Muslim followers, primarily in the North, and all the Afro-Americans into an organization that is their united front and can speak with one voice. And that is when Omowale Malcolm X and John Henrik Clarke, the great Pan-African historian, formed the Organization of Afro-American Unity to do just that. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King had a telephone conversation on February 15th, where they had laid out the basic agreement and how they were going to work together to form this united front. Malcolm X's house was then firebombed, and a week later, Malcolm X is assassinated. He had already got the support of 3 African nations to bring the case before the World Court. 2 of his key contacts were also assassinated within the 2 months that Malcolm X was assassinated. This is the part of the story that is not generally known or told, that Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie said, form that organization, and then you have to demonstrate your military capacity to carry out ground actions and second strikes, because we're not going to waste money and arms on a fake revolutionary movement that doesn't have the capacity to carry out military campaigns. Hence the Revolutionary Action Movement, the Black Liberation Army, and the United States COINTEL response that this was the greatest threat to United States national security. And after that, right, they couldn't wage war against Black people overtly, so they fabricated what they would call the drug war. And then they said the drug war, we had to wage total war and fight drug war, which was a euphemism for going into new African communities, right? Criminalizing them, arresting them, re-enslaving them under the 13th Amendment and putting them into the prison system while assassinating their leaders. Malcolm said that the OAAU's purpose was to unite all Afro-Americans. That means all Black people in North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean under one organization that would then connect to the OAU. 2 governments. A government for the Afro-descendants in the diaspora to connect with one government, a United African States for the Africans on the continent. Malcolm X met with several African leaders about this plan. And then he met with one of the leaders of the Rastafari movement, Elder Mortimer Plano, and Mortimer Plano told Malcolm, he said, when your plan for a Black nation, right, fails, at that point, your only hope and your only solution will be repatriation. Emperor Haile Selassie then tasked both Mortimer Plano and Malcolm X to begin a repatriation census and collect the names of those people who wanted to repatriate to Africa. Malcolm X talks about this in a book where he talks about he had started collecting the names, and then somehow the person responsible for that lost the names. Again, Malcolm was assassinated, and that entire plan for organizing Afro-American people to repatriate under the leadership and guidance of Emperor Haile Selassie, right, who had, since 1919, been preparing for this. was completely swept under the rug. And so the story that they talk about Malcolm X is a false narrative. They highlight the feud between Elijah Muhammad, his break from the Nation of Islam, to talk about black people against black people, right? They want to highlight that to make that as the most interesting story about Malcolm X. And not that he was following orders from the African High Command, from Emperor Haile Selassie, about how to wage our liberation struggle and preparing our people to return home. So finally, all of that is related to what's happening now with the reparations movement. Let me land there and give space for Truth Bay and the moderators. I can maybe revisit that part of the conversation, but let's get there.
Well, first I want to say thank you, Brother Baleka, for highlighting a lot of important information that people may not have known concerning the biography of Malcolm X. It puts things in a different perspective. So give thanks to that, especially his ties to Haile Selassie as well, and his father's time into the Marcus Garvey movement. All right, so time is running, but we are all grateful for our guest that's been here today, celebration of Malcolm X and the Pan-African. This is more just retelling story. It is about tangible moving forward of who we are or who we are to come. So I'm Dr. T. Bay. I'm actually in for Malik Julius Shabazz, who is on the side right here, Black Power's Lawyers for Justice. So without further ado, I'll highlight, we do have our special representatives from Burkina Faso. So Talitoye, if you could stand by for translation. We do have our brother Ayuba Ouattara, who is a business leader and president of Faso First Patriotic Movement. He also is the president of North Atlantic Peace Organization, also known as NAPO in Burkina Faso. Taditoye, if you could translate that while we bring in our honored guest for our next segment. Translator, Toyin.
Salutations patriotiques à tous. Je ne sais pas s'il y a quelqu'un qui pourra traduire pour nous.
Okay, greetings and thank you so much for being here.
Ok. Alors, chers camarades, mesdames et messieurs, honorables invités.
He says greetings, and for those who are here today, I'm grateful to be with you here today.
Chers militants panafricanistes, frères et sœurs de la Confédération des États du Sahel, AES, d'ici et d'ailleurs.
To our fair brothers and sisters throughout the diaspora, as well as those of the Sahel states, who is here with us here as well.
Excusez-moi. Alors, avant tout propos, permettez-moi de vous inviter à observer une minute de silence en la mémoire du camarade Malcolm X, ainsi qu'en hommage de tous les combattants de la liberté, de la dignité, de la justice et de la souveraineté des peuples qui nous ont quittés.
The sovereignty of our people, primarily from Burkina Faso, talking about the liberation of our movement and the struggles of our people. It brought to not only what was there back then, but also the struggles that are here in today's society.
Je vous remercie.
I'll tell you thank you.
En cette journée hautement symbolique consacrée au Malcolm X Day, il est de notre responsabilité historique, politique et morale de rappeler le sens profond des luttes menées par les peuples africains et afro-descendants pour leur émancipation, leur souveraineté et leur dignité.
Okay, based on today's Sovereignty on Malcolm X Day, it is profound for us to remember the historic missions of our ancestors, primarily for our Afro-descendant nation, to salute primarily what has been going on to now, how we need not to forget how we move forward as a unified body.
Malcolm X demeure l'une des figures majeures du panafricanisme révolutionnaire contemporain et de l'éveil des consciences africaines dans le monde.
And to have the African conscience not to be forgotten, it is vitally important that we have the right information bring forth to today, especially on a special day to remember Malcolm X.
Son combat dépassait largement la simple revendication des droits civiques.
It is important to remember that this is not just one certain type of classification, but it refers to all.
Il portait une vision globale de la libération publique, politique plutôt, économique, culturelle, psychologique et civilisationnelle des peuples noirs.
It is important to remember that the civilization for our people is not just mentality, but is also spiritually, and it affects us economically on a global perspective.
Il dénonçait avec lucidité les mécanismes de domination systémique, l'impérialisme, la dépendance économique, l'aliénation culturelle et la fragmentation du continent africain hérité de la colonisation.
It is important to be aware of the imperialism of what our people and the struggle of what our people have been going through, especially to recognize the defragmentation of the African countries. This is no feat that is by accident, but is a deliberate attack on our people.
Malcolm X appelait les peuples africains à reconquérir leur souveraineté, restaurer la dignité historique, construire leur unité stratégique, maîtriser leurs ressources, défendre leurs intérêts géopolitiques et reprendre le contrôle de leur destin collectif.
It is also good to remember that Malcolm X has always stood for the unity of our people, especially to implement strategies of human rights. And these are the things that we are remembering in order to replace the opposition, the oppression of what our opposition is continuing to do to our people. Malcolm X has done all that opposite for us to remember in the struggle.
Aujourd'hui, cette aspiration historique trouve un écho concret dans la dynamique portée par la Confédération des États du Sahel.
It is important to remember the dynamics of what the Sahel states has bringing forth, particularly for a time such as this.
Expression contemporaine d'une volonté politique africaine fondée sur la souveraineté, l'autodétermination, la sécurité collective, la solidarité, la résistance géopolitique et la renaissance panafricaniste.
When it comes to our collective struggle, it is important to remember the geopolitics as well. What also the Sahel states' profound mission is to collectively bring us all together for a time such as this.
Alors, l'origine historique et géopolitique de l'Alliance des États du Sahel.
The original historical perception of the Sahel states is this.
La Confédération des États du Sahel, AES, tire son origine de la volonté commune du Burkina Faso, du Mali et du Niger de bâtir un cadre stratégique de coopération renforcé face aux multiples défis sécuritaires, géopolitiques, économiques et institutionnels auxquels la région sahélienne était confrontée.
The Sahel states, which includes Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, is to remember that the force that they have together as far as what we need to make a change has been stronger more than ever this year. It is also the identity of who we are as a liberation group. Let me see, IGAD team. And for us to focus on creating teams within each other to empower the people to know that this is just the beginning of what we need to move forward.
Dans un contexte marqué par l'expansion du terrorisme transfrontalier, les tentatives de déstabilisation des États, les ingérences étrangères, les crises sécuritaires persistantes, les insuffisances des mécanismes régionaux traditionnels, les limites des modèles de gouvernance extravertis, ainsi qu'une forte aspiration populaire à la souveraineté réelle, les trois États sahéliens ont décidé d'engager une rupture historique en posant les fondements d'une alliance reposant sur les intérêts stratégiques de leur peuple.
It is important to understand the stability of our people, primarily the functions, the fundamental functions of what it takes to bring forth the changes that are needed, particularly for a time such as this. The Sahel states is not one that lies in wait. We are a mode of action that moving forward with these fundamental rights, especially for the rights of man, to be executed when it comes to reparatory justice.
C'est dans cette dynamique qu'a été créée le 16 septembre 2023 l'Alliance des États du Sahel, AES, à travers la signature de la charte du Liptako gourmand.
In 2023, the creation of the IES, the International Sahel States, hopefully I'm saying that right, the Sahel States, the signature for that, it started in 2023. And to remember the dynamics of what it really means, stability for our people is the fundamental rights. And these are the things that we continue to work upon even to this day, 3 years later.
Cette évolution historique a conduit à la création officielle de la Confédération des États du Sahel.
This historic revolution is the backbone, is the central portion of what we are as the Sahel states.
Le 6 juillet 2024 à Niamey, au Niger.
In 2024, this also started with Mali and Niger.
Marquant une étape majeure dans la construction d'un espace sahélien souverain, intégré, résilient et solidaire.
It integrated with solidarity, with a space that's solid, that promotes solidarity amongst people within this region.
Depuis sa création, la Confédération des États du Sahel a enregistré des avancées majeures dans plusieurs domaines stratégiques.
This has referred to many of the domains of the platform's strategy in which we are still working to fight with that today.
Le renforcement des opérations militaires conjointes,
the census of the conjoined military forces,
le partage du renseignement stratégique,
the assignment of a strategy that is formidable,
la mutualisation des moyens logistiques,
the mutuality of what we need to strengthen our bonds,
la coordination des stratégies antiterroristes,
the chords of strategy against anti-terrorism,
la sécurisation des zones frontalières,
the security of our armed forces,
la construction progressive d'institutions confédérales communes,
the construction of our structure, of our federal structure and our communal spaces that have been threatened.
L'adoption du drapeau officiel et de l'hymne de la Confédération.
It is very important to adopt our flag, our liberation flag.
L'adoption du drapeau officiel et de l'hymne de la Confédération.
And the use of our official flag that symbolizes our freedom.
Le développement d'une diplomatie sahélienne souveraine.
The development of what we are as a sovereign nation.
Le renforcement des corridors commerciaux et des infrastructures stratégiques.
The reinforcement of our foundational structure is just as important.
La coopération agricole, énergétique et pastorale.
The forces for our agricultural structures as well need to strengthen, as well as our development for landscaping.
La création d'une force unifiée de l'Alliance des États du Sahel.
The creation of our forces together is what's the defining meaning of the Sahel states.
La création d'une banque confédérale d'investissement.
Also, the creation of economics, which includes an investment bank for the people.
La valorisation des ressources nationales.
The need for our natural resources to be in the forefront.
La mobilisation patriotique et populaire autour de la souveraineté africaine.
The mobilization of our people in populaire, in a necessary, populaire. It's not popular. The mobilization of our people in the masses is quite important.
Aujourd'hui, l'Alliance des États du Sahel représente un symbole de résistance.
Right now, the symbol of the Sahel states is the symbol of our liberation of our people, is the liberation of our people.
Une référence de souveraineté.
In a reference to our sovereignty.
Une source d'inspiration pour la jeunesse africaine et un moteur de réveil panafricaniste.
It is so important to redirect that energy for our African youth, primarily who are in the midst of the struggle.
Nous notons également la création d'une télévision de l'Alliance des États du Sahel.
And it is important to broadcast the presentations of our struggles to make sure that it is well known throughout the world what we have been going through.
Également la création d'une radio de l'Alliance des États du Sahel.
And to also create a broadcasting system to encourage more of our broadcasting system so that way we can tell our own stories through the news, through podcasting, through radio.
La Confédération des États du Sahel favorise l'émergence d'une nouvelle conscience citoyenne fondée sur le patriotisme.
The foundation of our liberation starts with a patriotic moves of our ancestors and those who are doing it today.
La discipline, le civisme, la responsabilité collective, la valorisation des cultures africaines et la participation populaire au processus de refondation des États.
The valuation of our young people particularly is important to change the state and the matter of things. They are the central key point of the voices that are continue to be suppressed, in which we have to uplift and elevate these voices.
Il faut noter que les défis aujourd'hui restent toujours la mobilisation autour de nos leaders.
It always points to the need of us mobilizing our people, never staying stagnant, always moving constant.
Le soutien indéfectible à nos camarades, les leaders, les présidents Ibrahim Traoré, Abdraman Tiani et Assimi Goïta.
And it is always also important to note that all of this points to our leader, President Ibrahim Traoré, who has been the prime example of self-determination for our people, not only Burkina Faso, but in the Sahel states.
Il faut noter que ces soutiens sont tant nationaux qu'à l'international aussi, nous avons besoin de ces soutiens pour relever les défis aujourd'hui.
And our president has always been part of leading a strong national bond that has led us to make decisions using our own people to drive out opposition, but to also build economic strongholds within the nation.
Surtout maintenir la mobilisation autour de ces leaders pour une lutte de longue haleine.
And in the long term, it is great to see the movements that are happening and the changes that are being made. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. However, we are moving at a rate where we are self-determined by any means necessary.
Cette mobilisation s'inscrit aussi dans la sensibilisation des masses et dans d'autres actions allant dans le sens de déraciner l'impérialisme sur toutes ses formes.
The mobilization looks like this. In mass action, we are sustaining empowerment of our people, but more importantly, eradicating the, I would say, white supremacy, the racial undertones that our people are going through. We are slowly erasing that on a daily basis.
Parmi ces défis, nous avons également la consolidation de nos ressources économiques allant jusqu'à la création et le contrôle surtout de notre monnaie commune.
And not only are we taking back our daily livelihood, but the resources in education, building our own schools, creating and building our own highways as well, are part of the changes that good leadership brings.
Aujourd'hui, la Confédération des États du Sahel n'est pas simplement une organisation régionale.
The Sahel states are not just there as a leadership in self-determination, but it has a beginning and where we pay our ancestors homage for that, which we are today.
C'est une organisation qui aspire à atteindre l'unification complète de tout le continent africain.
The unification of who we are as a people, it depends solely on what we are doing to advance our needs. And this is where we are today concerning the Sahel states.
Elle représente aujourd'hui une vision historique de reconstruction africaine fondée sur la souveraineté, l'unité, la dignité, la sécurité collective et la maîtrise du destin africain par les Africains eux-mêmes.
The dreams of who we are as reconstruction, it includes the formality of unity, of strengthening the dignity of the African people, increase security of our African forces. And it's so lively, it's a work that is a constant, but moving forward, we are strengthening every day the unification process of our African people and a nation as a whole.
Cette journée dédiée à Malcolm X, nous devons retenir qu'aucun peuple ne peut être véritablement libre sans souveraineté politique.
And on this special day, the day that we remember Malcolm X, is not only to remember the political work that he has done, but what it means to really be sovereign, to really be self-determined.
Sans indépendance économique, sans conscience historique, sans maîtrise de ses ressources, sans sécurité, sans unité stratégique.
We cannot accomplish these things without a mindset of security. We cannot accomplish these things with a mindset for independence if we are still doing the same thing. These nuances that we need to remember on a day like today.
Les peuples qui écrivent leur propre histoire deviennent les véritables maîtres de leur destin.
The people who take control of their destiny will take control of a better future.
Vive le panafricanisme conscient et responsable.
Even as the livelihood of a Pan-Africanism is specific, and we must adhere to the success of how it comes to be.
Vive la solidarité des peuples africains.
Long live the solidarity of our people.
Vive la révolution des consciences africaines et afro-descendantes.
Long live a people of our Afro-descendant nation.
Vive la Confédération des États du Sahel, AES.
Long live the Sahel States Unity.
Vive les États-Unis d'Afrique.
Long live the United States of Africa.
Vive la révolution progressiste populaire.
Long live the much needed popularity of the people.
Vive les peuples libres et souverains.
Long live the sovereignty of our people.
Et que triomphe partout la dignité des peuples africains.
And long live the sovereignty of our nation.
La patrie ou la mort nous vaincrons. Je vous remercie.
And the struggle continues. Power to we the people. Power to the people. Give thanks and merci. Merci d'avance pour nous là. Monsieur Ayuba Urata from Burkina Faso. We are so grateful to have a final report from our activists, from our leaders that are currently in every part of the world, speaking the same language of self-determination, of human rights. And I think that's what it all boils down to be. So I am a policy analyst and focus on human rights becoming a law. And if we do have some spirits in the room that would like to chime in and give us a little rundown on this last 5 minutes. The day of Malcolm X, what does it really mean to you? So if we can, we have Kabore, Mecca Shabazz, as well, Jacaranda, Farimana. We'd like for any one of you to chime in and just give us a briefing, words of wisdom as we depart on this Black Panther movement, celebrating Malcolm X.
Hey, peace and blessings, family.
Peace and blessings.
Salute. Salute. Good evening from Kenya, East Africa. Before I begin, I just want to express sincere gratitude and thank you to the Black Panther Party movement, the members in Burkina Faso, the African American Academy in Ouagadougou, friends of President Traoré in the West, and every organizer, elder and supporter and young person connected to this very important program. Just real quick, I was announced as I was asked to give a few words to the family here, as it's been announced that I'm the International Minister of Communications for the Black Panther Party movement. So I look forward to working with everyone here and great information that came across. My thing is support. I'm not a leader. I'm much of a speaker. I'm inspired by supporting. I think that one thing that we miss in all of the movements is that we have great researchers, great scholars, great people that can move and inspire the masses, but we need clarity. Dr. Truth Bay, you do a great job supporting the movement as well as being a great leader. So just wanted to give a shout out to everyone. And as I close, I'm very grateful to be working with the movement, and thank you to the members in Burkina Faso. Thank you to the organizers connected to this program. Thank you to those working to build Pan-African relationships. Thank you to those helping to keep Afro descendants connected with Africa-facing initiatives. Thank you to those doing communication work, legal work, community work, youth work, cultural work, and international work. And thank you to the young people who are open to learning and asking questions and finding your place in this work. I want to leave with one simple invitation: connect, contribute, build. Not everybody has to do the same thing. Some people are writers, designers, organizers, students, translators, and some understand technology, some understand law, and some understand media. Some are good at business, some are good at culture. Every useful skill has its place. So my encouragement is this: do not leave with pressure to do everything. Leave with one useful action. Meet one serious person, share one meaningful resource, join one communication channel or one skill, ask one thoughtful question, take one step closer to the work. This is how relationships grow. This is how trust grows. This is how movements grow. We honor the mission by listening carefully, speaking clearly, and building respectfully and serving consistently. We honor the Panther tradition by being useful to the people, and we honor the future by making room for the youth to participate, lead, and build. If anybody wants to connect with me, it's been a pleasure. I've been working with a lot of Brother Ramzu, to a degree, Brother Safiwe, and many people on this call. And I look forward to continuing to partnering with you on all of the great work that you're doing. Salute, and let's continue because things as being the kind of the fourth corner on this of the people that are attending from Africa, representing East Africa here, stakes are high. There is a scramble for Africa, and the surveillance state is real, and there's a lot of oppression that comes out as a result of this. So many people have to be careful with what they say, because a lot of resources are being poured into protecting that scramble for Africa at this time. If you want to reach me, I am my email is info@afrodescendantali.com, or you can reach me through the BlackPantherParty.net website. Salute. Thank you, everyone.
All right, give thanks to Brother Ali. Farimana, before we go into our segue to exit. Greetings, chime on in, and power to the people. Your hand is up, you have the mic. You open up the mic, please. All right, Jacaranda, give you guys a minute or so to chime on in.
I don't need the minute. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you. This was very educational. You pulled together the leaders of 1919. You took us back. That is the connection. And I just wanted to say thank y'all. Thank y'all. That's it.
Give thanks. Thank you, Queen. Much obliged to you. Power to the people. So without further ado, I can't leave without saying a shout out to my Haitian brothers and sisters. As a Haitian as well, we are the natural born revolutionaries in the spirit. As the first free Black Republic, and Burkina Faso is near and dear to our hearts. So I want to give a shout out. So sak passe tout moun ki la. Premièrement, besoin du Kembe film. Et puis pour continuer à parler et travailler ensemble pour libération peuple noir. C'est seulement nous gagnons, c'est nous-mêmes qui gagnons respect. So that being said, we not boule, absolutely. So for those, Haitian Flag Day was actually yesterday, so it's coincides that this month be recognized as Haitian Heritage Month. And with that being said, we want to know that give a shout out and condolences to a lot of the families, a lot of massacres that's continuing to happen in Haiti, but we are currently going to change that. So CARICOM is coming, and those who may not know who CARICOM is coming to Haiti this week in a particularly government conversation. So for those who may not know with the Caribbean community, who they are the agency that represents not only Haiti, but all of the Caribbean. 15 that they represent, there's 33 in total, but they only represent 15. But the point is this, for Haiti's particular governance, for those who may not know, that we are looking for a bicycle elected position of elections. Our people in Haiti has never had our own elections. It's always ran by the same old colonizing France, Canada, and the United States. But with that being said, it's going to be a whole different year, because this week CARICOM is going to be listening in on what the people need. And right now, the governance of DGF Fizeme is not the one that is legally, constitutionally void. So for that update, is to give you updated for that, and we'll let you know what happens after the 28th, where CARICOM decided to support a new governance for Haiti. Okay, so Québec Femme encore pour tout haïtien qui là. All right, with that being said, we are going to terminate, but we thank you guys again for joining us this celebration of Pan-African brothers and sisters and Malcolm X Day.